What's going on, guys? Marco here with 4 for 4, and week one of the NFL season is finally here, which means I've got my week one 5 moves to make. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I have 5 moves to make? Really, we're talking about some simple stuff that can set you up for success for the rest of your season. So let's do my number one move that I think you should be making. And of course, this is dependent on your draft. But if you didn't go elite tight end early and you kind of figured out your tight ends along the way, maybe Sam LaPorta or Dalton Kincaid are available. Maybe you rostered these guys. I think that both rookie tight ends should be in your lineup week one. Let me break it down really quickly. Sam LaPorta, the Detroit Lions, their tight ends combined for 12 touchdowns in 2022. Really, it's the Sam LaPorta show at the tight end position for the Detroit Lions. And in week one, they are in one of 2 games with the over-under over 50. The Dolphins and Chargers, and of course, the Lions and the Chiefs are the only 2 games in all of week one. So I want to have as many of those players in my lineup as possible. And Sam LaPorta being the only real viable tight end for the Detroit Lions, I think he could find his way into the end zone as early as week one, and I think he should be in your lineups. And then, of course, we've got Dalton Kincaid, the guy who a lot of people had ranked over Sam LaPorta, not just for redraft, but for dynasty leagues this year. And so this is a good spot for him. You know, the New York Jets have a solid defense. It's not some easy defense of old that the New York Jets used to bring to the field, but the reality is Sauce Gardner's going to be on Stefon Diggs. Josh Allen's going to have to look in other places than only having it be the Josh Allen and Stefon Diggs show. And I think while Gabe Davis might be a major benefactor of that, I think we see Dalton Kincaid make an impact early for this Buffalo Bills team. And I think in week one, he also can get into the end zone while also having the option to see some really nice PPR value if he does in fact line up in the slot and Dawson Knox fills that inline tight end position. If you've got both tight ends in one of your redraft leagues or your dynasty leagues, and I'm in that situation in a couple of leagues, I'm actually putting LaPorta in over Kincaid just because I trust that game. I like the defense that Sam LaPorta is going to be going against. And again, it's going to be a high scoring affair on Thursday night with the Chiefs and the Lions. So LaPorta, then Kincaid, but both are in my lineups where they can be. The next one is roster these 3 players. And this is kind of, move 2 through 4 for me. But the first one is roster Jayden Reed. Now, of course, this is dependent on league depth, bench depth, things like that. Jayden Reed should not be in your starting lineup. But I think Jayden Reed, who was the second-round wide receiver pick for the Green Bay Packers this offseason, he has a chance to immediately carve out a role in this Packers offense. And sure, the offense might be a little bit more run-heavy than we are used to with the Green Bay Packers with Aaron Jones and, of course, A.J. Dillon. When you look at what the roster has, they've got Christian Watson, of course, and then they've got Romeo Doubs and Jayden Reed. Jayden Reed immediately fills a role in this offense that both Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs really aren't known for, and that's being a premier route runner. He could be a reliable, safe option for Jordan Love in this offense when Aaron Jones isn't available. So I am really in on the Packers rookie wide receiver. I don't think he should be in your lineups, like I said, but he should be at the end of your bench because he could make an impact in week one, and people could be going crazy spending fab budget or prioritizing him in waivers this time next week. So I want Jayden Reed on my roster now so I don't have to worry about going after him, in a week or 2 weeks from now when people are going to make you pay up to go get a guy like that. In a similar regard, I'm talking about my next move to make, my third move to make, and that is roster Justyn Ross. Now, this one is even deeper than Jayden Reed because we know Justyn Ross's injury history. We know his medical concerns with the fusion in his spine. And of course, last year he was out all year with a broken foot. Justyn Ross brings way more risk than a Jayden Reed. He has way more obstacles to overcome on the health side of things. But when you look at talent, right now I can say confidently, pure talent, Justyn Ross is the most talented wide receiver on the Kansas City Chiefs roster. When he was in college, before all of these injury concerns and all the medical concerns came up, people expected him to be a first-round pick, a top 15 pick in his draft. So this is a very, very deep play in redraft. And of course, in Dynasty Leagues, just throw him on like your taxi squad or something. But Justyn Ross is a guy who has a ton of potential in this offense. If the Chiefs by week 3 haven't had a wide receiver really step up, and it's been just the Mahomes and Travis Kelce show, they're going to look to a guy who based on all reports out of camp, has been working hard, has been a playmaker in the preseason in Justyn Ross. He could be an absolute steal by midseason if he's getting regular playing time. Okay, my fourth move to make is another player I want you guys to be rostering, and a lot of people have been rostering him more and more over the last week with reports out of camp, but Sean Tucker, I know my editor is going to be pumped about this one. All reports out of camp are that he is solidifying the running back 2 role behind Rachaad White for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we've talked about this. Last season, Rachaad White was insanely inefficient as a runner. He is a difference maker as a pass catcher, and that is going to benefit a lot of managers. But Sean Tucker could take over the early down work very early in this season. If you have Sean Tucker now, you don't have to pay fab. Running backs who can step into opportunity early and have a chance to take over early opportunity for an offense are the running backs that will win you your leagues. I'm not saying Sean Tucker's a league winner yet, but it's in his range of outcomes. If Rachaad White continues to struggle between the tackles, Sean Tucker could be an immediate game changer for your offense. And he was either undrafted in your redraft leagues or drafted as like the very last or second to last pick. So Sean Tucker, roster. I would actually roster all 3 of the guys I just mentioned in this order. Sean Tucker, Jayden Reed, Justyn Ross. These are deeper redraft leagues or dynasty leagues I'm talking about, but all of these guys should be on your roster. If not by the end of this week, before we get to week 2's games, because their value is going to go up undoubtedly, and you want them on your rosters now. Okay, so the final move to make, and this one is simple. It's just for week 1. Obviously, we don't have too much to talk about before the first week of the season, but don't get cute. Don't go to your 13th round pick and put him over one of the guys you drafted in the top 5 rounds of your draft, top 6 rounds of your draft. In most cases, 99.9% of the time, you start who you drafted first at all of these positions. There's a reason you drafted them there. There's a reason that their average draft position was there, even if you didn't draft them there. You know what I mean? So these are the players that have locked in value. Injuries, all these things can happen. Don't get cute in week 1. What you want to do is get the guys you drafted first in your lineups. The few caveats really are injury, or if you've got guys in these matchups where they are really high scoring games on these over-unders, like we talked about with the Lions and the Chiefs, or the Chargers and the Dolphins. But again, those are offenses. You drafted those guys early, so get them in your lineups. Don't get cute. If you have any questions or you've got start sits, drop them below. Hit me up on Twitter at Marco_NFL, and I'll answer any DMs, any tweets or X's at me that you guys want to send. Don't forget to be kind, do good, subscribe to the channel, check out the rest of our content. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Peace.